guys on Facebook, and all you guys on Zoom, on different channel. I know this is very good Saturday, and I have a true intentions of make this to be a concise meeting, um, because to be honest, it's uh, um, feeling a little bit sluggish today. It's a Saturday, sunny day. My wife and my kid were staying home. They were having a staying home picnic, so to speak, and and but today's topic is actually really timely, and it's really talking about how do you attract investors, how do you so to speak work with investors and attract capital, building a team, and it's a really um, is really is a it's sort of like a grinding topic, and I find it there's nothing better than coming in on a Saturday afternoon while I have plans for my weekends, and nothing better than that to actually share what a typical investor life is about. And I see this over and over again, and it's about doing the work that while you don't want to do. And it's very funny because um, um, today we are talking about how to actually how to attract the people that is into your circle. And the thing is, the always one thing about attracting people into your circle is really doing the work um, good, but there's also doing the work consistently. And that's something that you will find that no matter you where you see in this big small company that they have great success in attracting capital, in attracting so-called investor working with them, is always about the fact that to have consistent you can say consistent showcase, a consistent presence on in front of your investors, in front of your team, and you kind of have to show up. So without further ado, so we're gonna jump to, and we're gonna get it done. We're gonna show you some of the key questions that when I'm designing this Saturday Zoom meetups, and what are the things that I'm really thinking of in terms of um, consistently getting the investor onboarding. How do you attract the better investors? How do you attract and work with more investors and provide better values? Because I on a daily basis, I'm working with investors. I'm working with investors, mentees, and like you guys, to learn about what are they thinking when they're trying to raise capital. And I would like to spell the secret, so to speak, with all you guys today. How do you do that? How do we do it, right? Um, so again, for all you guys that haven't met me, for doing, I've been doing this for 20 times on the Zoom call, and this is my the eighth or the seventh meetups that I've been doing this year. We were really fortunate to be able to have live meeting earlier the year, but of course we're switching to online. And so I'm starting investing in 2006 for you guys. I'm Howard, investing in Canada, US, and eventually to multifamily. And I've been sharing online events. Over 3,000 audience has been opportunity to be able to meet with. And some of the things that I have done over the years is set up this meetups and Zoom calls, because I believe in the fact that to be able to have our local network, because I invest in US, but I strongly believing that to have that local component and build kind of my local team is very, very key. And I started out to have this multifamily vision, so to speak, seeing many great people have been able to do this online, offline, but I basically built this out 3 years ago, and slowly building it along, get along people, getting in touch with people local, local successful real estate investor, and all across America, all across Canada. And I believe one thing that I figured out is, with investing in real estate is really key. No matter who I'm talking with, is you can able to make cash flow, and you're able to make huge appreciations when you do the value add. And also, you can work with other people who have capital, or they have the expertise. you know Remember, like years ago, and I don't have the expertise that I have right now. And I was like you guys, and didn't have the expertise, and I was trying to learn out and how to do it. And then eventually I figured out, this is not only learnable, but it's also something that is really profitable for myself, for my family, and for the people around me. And that's something that I find, and that's why I invest in my time in the building a group like this, and slowly to share and keep sharing about what you can do, right? So my goal is I want to help people who are starting out, who doesn't have a lot of opportunity, and saying that, you know what, um, in fact, I have just created an online program, and strictly online, and my student, my mentees, and even people who are learning how to do multifamily can actually get on board and sign my programs. And you have these X steps that I designed. It's basically kind of as extension of what I created with my meetups, with my educations, with my investments, because I really want to show people how Canadian like me and others have been able to invest in the US in the apartment space, which is a really secure space, which is really narrow space. Not a lot of people have talked about it, and not a lot of people have been offering help, and that's what I want to do. And um, and I have boot camps. I have decided to have 4 boot camps at the beginning of this year, and we have underwriting boot camp that we have done earlier in April. We have make it as a 2 sessions because it's broken online. And what we did is we also have money raising boot camp, basically specifically sharing with investors how to raise capital. We were so lucky earlier this, actually for the last 2 weeks, we were able to secure, give or take 200,000 US, with along with investors, and basically offering values and offering trust to work with investors, um, because of association of different things, of a track records, and of delivering what we promised that we say that we would do, and so on and so forth. And also continuously doing meetups, Zoom call, like the one that you're watching today. And even on the boot camps, we really offering some really high value, low price ticket items for investors to learn how to underwrite, learn how to raise capital, and how to find deals. I was sending over 1,000 emails to direct owners last week, and to basically get, you can say, pocket listing or work with direct owners. And I'm still not convinced to doing it, but I want to share, right? I want to share what's my way of successfully getting deals. So all those kind of things kind of is basically kind of, you can say that as a different piece of puzzle. And I add it all up, knowing that that worked because I'm using the exact formula, that seeing people have done it work. So the boot camps and the meetups and the Zoom calls are all basically playing the integral part of what I would like to offer. Whether it's my, in my network, whether it's investors, mentees, or just want to hear about them, think and learn about how to do it in investing in US. So we offer things like that. But today, the topic is about, how do you attract A-team investors, right? That's basically, investors, mentor, and sponsor. So this is part one of what I really want to share. And I know this is always a topic that people are asking, like, how do you, right? How do you, so-called, work with investors? Like, how do you attract, build the trust, and have the relationships, and really work with investors? As I said to you, I'm in the money raising arena, like a lot of company. But you may think, if you're new, starting a new, um, raising capital maybe not your thing. And I assure you, I should assure you, that was what I was believing when I was starting out. I believe in um, um, working with my own capital, and I have this mindset. Maybe I can, maybe I can work in myself and save a capital by buying investments. And it's not a it's not a alien thinking. It's not something that is wrong, but the longer as I'm building my portfolio in Canada and US, and even in Asia, one thing that I figured out is um, all the company, all the successful investor has this one skill set. Not saying that you have to have, but is I kind of pick it up along the way, is they have this one skill set, which is basically called raising capital or attracting capital. And this really comes down to what I really want to share about today. I've been sharing with this topic for for a few times, for a few times during my meetups, during my Zoom call, but it's never get old, because it comes down to knowing the psychologies and knowing what the customers want. In this case, whether that is your investor, that whether that's your mentors, whether that's the sponsors, you have to really come down to knowing what they're looking for. And that's what we don't talk about. you know One thing we have to understand: investor, mentor, sponsor, they're different kind of audience. Investor wants something that they are totally different from when you talk about attracting mentors or sponsors, when you doing real estate deals, or even advisors. They're totally different kind of creature, so to speak. But really understanding what they want is really, is the beginning of having a successful, kind of like, if you want to attract investors. Typically investors, they want safe returns, and they want safety, and they knowing that they want to know that you can be trusted. For mentors, they want to continue to grow the business, and they want to create influences, in and with and on the community. Someone like me, like, we continuously doing something like this, right? To build, so-called credibility. And you kind of have to think about, when you're approaching them, what can you offer, right? What are you trying to offer? If you say, I'm new, talking about experience. I was new years ago. I have no network, I have no capital, and I have no knowledge. So when I approach other people, what can I offer? What can I offer? What are they thinking? Maybe kind of like the win-win situations, in terms of, what, maybe I can help them to do some work, and then in terms they can help me to learn about how to do the business. Because in real estate is one thing that, if you're new in the real estate game, in fact, like a lot of business too, it's a team sport, right? It's a team sport. No one will be able to start out by themselves and forever by themselves and continuously be thriving, because you have to know that um, all the all the successful company, they have a team. They have a really successful team. They have a big team, small team, doesn't matter, but they have people who can help them. And as new, or someone that who is trying to venture out into real estate investing, there's something that you have to think about. What can you offer to the mentors and sponsors alike too? And I write down a few questions. By the way, I intentionally don't share the slides today, because I actually want to make it more conversational. Um, but again, going back to investors, they want safe return, they want safety, they want to know that you can be trusted. And how can you do that, right? Question they are actually asking, and maybe you should thinking about, is, can I trust you? We talk about, I was an engineer for 12 years in my careers. And one thing that are really funny is, like, when I was coming to my office building, and they have LCD, they have this ad, and they talk about is actually is a PEGA. It's basically is engineering associations in Canada, and they talk about what can you build. And the slogan, I'm trying to get it right, is really funny. They say that if you can build trust, you can build anything. And you know what? Funny thing is, when I was an engineer, I never think of like that. The fact is it's not that it's not true. The fact is actually I didn't have the mindset to actually build something from my mind with my client, with the people I come in contact with. I'd never think like that. But whether you're engineer, whether you're investors, whether you are building anything in real estate, in constructions, in anything or business, one thing that you have to overcome is can can the other person trust you? You know, if you're approaching to a guy or girl, they're trying to build something and you need their help, you have to really, you know, as an investors, you know, what they're thinking is the mind is, can I trust you? So you have to basically um, understanding that, you know, building a trust is the number one key thing in business. And a lot of people talk about know, like, trust. You know, they first have to know you, and then they've like you. Eventually, they will trust you. And something that you have to pay attention in mind is, no matter what we do in, you know, in business, no matter what we do in real estate, you always want to build a trust. And the trust is, remember when I was starting out too, it's something that I was thinking is like, how can I make that other person trust you? And it's almost like this reductant thing that I think, you know what, if I'm trying hard enough, that it will happen. And I didn't have the right mindset. I didn't have the right material, the knowledge and experience and the team to actually know, you know, for an investor to trust you, a lot of things have to be happen, right? And I don't mean to go over all the things here, but you have to dress right, you have to speak right, and you have to position yourself right, and you have to have uh, all kind of track records, and you have to have references, and you basically all those kind of things is going to build in a part of, you know, can you do you position yourself out there so that other people can trust you, right? And they're thinking of, you know, how can I invest with you and be keep hope, you know. One really short story, and I also shared previously when I remember at the beginning when I was starting out, I remember I came to investors home. I was doing these presentations, you know, and really casual presentations, I remember. But one funny thing is, like, you know, I wasn't successfully creating the trust with investors. That was the two couples in a really really good area, and went to the home and basically talk about the investment opportunity that we talked about. And the whole meeting, and guarantee you, is disastrous. Is so bad that at the end they actually asked me, so what if you bring the money and go back to China, and what can I do? And of course, I know nothing about trust. I know nothing about creating trust, and I didn't know how to keep them calm. But ultimately, of course, I didn't get an investor. But one thing that I really learned a lot is when you are failing to create trust in the investor mind, and nothing will happen, and you will get questions, and you will get questions like, how can, you know, what if you do, like, you know, what can I keep and keep. So knowing this, they're always asking this. Investment return is always the greatest, you know, having 10, 12, 6, you know, 20% return is all good, you know, whatever you're going to invest. But one thing that I'm always asking is in the mind is, can you return my capital? And that's something that you have to really, you know, if you don't know how to answer the questions, come talk to me and we can have this discussion. But one thing is really, really important is, you basically have to address the objection in the mind is, can I trust you? It's coming back to, you know, do you have the proper communications? Do you have the proper website? Do you have the proper presentations? And all those kind of things. What is your reputations? You know, one thing is really old school, but, you know, your reputations precedes you. You know, they already know whether this person, whether Howard or James or whoever, that can I trust this guy? You know, have him or her been in the business for a long time? Another thing is, what have you done so far? You know, what have you done so far? It's kind of come back to, are you, so they're going to answer the questions. What was the last project you have done? What is the investment return that you have been presenting to your investors? Have your investor being paid on timely manners? Have you, do you have a list of investors they can talk to, right? And all those kind of things kind of speak to, are you credible? And you have to address that questions. It's kind of come back to, and my money safe when I'm talking about I'm investors. Other questions that are also being asked when I was starting out, remember I was doing this on a kind of like part-time basis. One of my mentors actually come and ask me, how are you active right now? Are you doing this full time right now? And I remember this feeling so bad, because I wasn't full time, I was not active, and I was thinking, so if I'm not active, I'm not full time, doesn't mean that I cannot raise capital. Well, this is far from the truth, but the fact is, you have to understand that in life you have to really, really learn um, how to convince people to be working with you. And other things is, who I can talk to learn more about you. It's kind of come back to your people that, do you do they really know that they can work with you, and how many years you have been in the experience in the investing, right? Can you show me a track record? Can you show me what have you done? Can you show me a property package that they can convince me, that can show me that you deliver what you said? So the property package is really the investment package you have, and then this um, so-called, like that's 16 slides, 20 slides, whatever you like to call, but basically it's a property package with investment outlook, with how many units and where's the market and all those kind of things. Can you show me what you said you're going to do, and can you deliver what you said you're going to do, deliver as well? So this is all they're thinking as investors when they are thinking about, can I trust you? And mentors really, so we're going to move on to mentors, sponsor, advisors. It's pretty much around the same thing. But the question you'll be asking is, how do you find them, right? As I talked about earlier, you will need other people to help you. You will need other people to hold your hand, just like I had some other mentors to hold my hand, um, because I want to shorten. I don't want to do this when I'm 60 years old. I don't want to do this. Nothing wrong with doing this at 60 years old, but I want to do it quicker. How can I do this quicker? How can I um, take advantage of using other people's experience, especially successful investor experience, and including the question is, how do you find them? Where do you find them? And have they done something that you really want to learn from? In this case, multifamily or real estate investing. And really, really network with them and really, really learn from them. How have they done it? And it's really key, because if you are trying to learn something, you're trying to do multifamily at the start, or even real estate investing at the start, you need someone. The best way, I would strongly suggest, the best way is to have someone to hold your hand. The best way is to have someone to hold your hand and to really network with them, really trying to learn from the experience, because usually they have many, many years of experience, their failures, that lessons that you can learn from. That is so huge. You don't want to learn from your own experience. The best way to learn, you know, is to learn from other people's experience. And the second best way to learn is actually learn from your own failure. But um, that will guarantee your success if you have someone to hold your hand. If you're taking advantage of other people's experience. In knowing the market will really help you. Kind of come back to when you talk to investors. The one single thing that I was actually working with an investor yesterday, and one thing that he was actually asking me is, do you know the market? And you have to know the market on the back of your head. And whether you're investing in Canada, whether you're investing in Midwest or the market, you have to know your market to the back of your hand. That's come back to knowing what they're thinking in their mind. They're gonna ask you they're gonna ask you, what's your market like? What is the employment like? What's the rent growth like? Why do you invest in this market? And why do you think you can give me the return that you said you're gonna do, right? And coming back to attracting the right kind of investors, raising capital, and also, which is really key, attracting other investing partners to be able to work with you. Because the one really, really key thing is, hi guys, one really, really key thing is, how do you um, attracting an individual investor is really key, but attracting the right kind of partner to be able to partner with you is could is so crucial, that one key investor can help you to build a whole network. And I'm working with couple investors like that right now, and it's first time from first hand experience, I'm seeing the impact of growing your network and growing the network to the key partners, to the way that, if I'm going out to build my own network, maybe I'm able to build I built my own network, and for started 3 years ago, and I have about 300. I have 300 people within my group, just strictly in meetups, and doing this culture. I'm doing this in a way that, not so. You can say that I'm doing this patiently. At the same time, I'm doing it in a really slow fashion. But one thing I figured out is you can do it that way. At the same time, you should also venture out to other successful investors who have a vast network, right? They have a vast network of whether they within the network, the high net worth individual, within the network, they have years of experience, because that's how they build a network. But I'm working with a couple key investors that have that kind of pull and that kind of network, that if I didn't do meeting like this, and they would never be able to find me and work with me. And I'm working a couple guys like that and girls like that. And I have to show you, I assure you, the power of doing that is so powerful that it's going to be kickstart. It's going to be kickstart your success in terms of networking, in terms of finding capital, in terms of building your network, whether it's investors, whether that's your partners. That's so crucial. So don't stop doing those kind of things, and reaching out key investors who are able to help you, partner with you, and give them what they want. By the way, this is about win-win situations. Give them what they want, and to be able to win together. So I talk about network, nurturing your network, and finding like-minded individuals. It's all about creating a bigger network. It's all about building a bigger and better, more win-win situational win-win relationships network that your investor can partner with you. But first thing first, you have to know your craft, and I talked about that already. You have to know your craft, whether it is like multifamily, you have learned from someone who is doing it, continuously planning to doing it. I like multifamily, honestly, because when all this, this is all, so I'm showing, this is my office here. So all these buildings is, is having such a big um, um, challenges with rents, with offices, with retails. We stick with multifamily. And I tell you why we stick with multifamily is because multifamily is something that is always going to be needed. Um, Tenants may business maybe closing down, um, and or subsided, or getting less businesses, and less restaurant will be open, and you may not need so many vacation and go to holiday and stuff, but you will always need somewhere to live. You will always need somewhere to live. You always need some place to stay. And that is why multifamily and even residential is so crucial. And in a way that, you know, um, and you may not need a business to run your business. You may not need office. You can work at home, but you need a place to live. You may shrink down your family, and that's why, subsegment of multifamily is doing really well in terms of B and C, working class housing. That's what we are focusing on Haterbrick. But it really comes down to knowing your market and building the trust with your investor. Remember that your investor doesn't necessarily know the detail or as intimate, and they should not be, as you are to your investment. You need to be educating them. You need to telling them why, and this is protected with hard asset, and intrinsic value never go away over over decades, over long-term history, and we learned it from history. Real estate is never the hottest thing, but it's always the safest bet. And I'm going to copy one guy that I remember I was in his on his presentations one day. I think it's like a couple weeks ago. He said that workhouse, workhouse housing, working class housing, working good during normal time, but workers and working class housing working great during recessions. So I think it's going to be something like that. That is really coming back to why we think investing in multifamilies and investing class B and C suburban um, settings, residential is credential. But you have to understand all this. You have to learn how to understand the market, right? Learn how to find the deal. As I said, I was sending 1,000 emails out to direct owners. How to do that, right? It's come back to attracting a deal flow that I always talking about. But you have to convince them. When you actually doing this for years, you can convince your investor. You can help them, right, and partner with them to give them the return that they truly needed and protecting the asset with hard, um, hard, hard asset that is like underlying that is never going to be blown away, and it's protected if there's anything bad happen with the insurance. So don't afraid to fail, right? The last one is don't afraid to fail. Don't afraid to go and try to talk to investors. You're gonna have many investors. You're gonna have many meetings, like what I'm showing you. That investor gonna answer this question is like you guys like stall. Basically don't know what to respond. But it's not about the story is going to defining you. It's not about when it's not about coming to your office that no one is actually in the office on a Saturday afternoon, and maybe you don't have a lot of people attending your meeting, or maybe you don't have a lot of big audience. But I assure you, the first meeting I have when I'm doing this, I have one student showing up, and the student was late for 2 hours. I was there the whole time. So and then eventually that's how you build. That's how you build a network. That's how you build your business. That's how you build your track record. That's how you build a trusted investors. And don't afraid to fail. Don't afraid to start small. And I assure you, that's how you attract investors. But there we are. And I don't want to intend it. This is a short and sweet meetups because I figured out, um, um, not a lot of people, not a lot of investors want to actually come to meetups on Saturday. But I want to record this. But I want to continuously give values to people like you and Herm, to whoever want to new starting in investing in apartments. And this is how you do it, right? And I have done events this year on bootcamp, Zoom call, coach calls, meetups. This is the example of meetups, and even visiting the market. So I launched my first ever home study program early this early early July. We successfully launched, and over 80. So this slide is already outdated. We have over 90 subscribed within 2 weeks, first 2 weeks, and we're really fortunate to be able to um, give back to the community, and people are learning how to invest, how to actively invest in this case, and about how to find your emerging market, how do you identifying them, right? How do you increase the deal flow? How do you raise the capital? And this is what we talk about today, right? How do you understand the mindset of investors, of mentors, of what can you add value to them? But you have to first of all understanding what they need, right? Underwriting is the key thing. How do you underwriting a deal, right? Real estate investors like us, we love the numbers. We love the money, but at the beginning, you have to know the numbers. You have to show your investor, you know the numbers. You have to show the investor, you know how to crunch the numbers, and this is the return. Some investors are really smart, so you have to know that. You have to give them the breakdown. Due diligence. When you get a deal, how do you actually underwrite them and offering them and lock down a deal? And then doing the due diligence, physical, legal, and financial due diligence. And eventually how to finance the deal. And with investors, capital, and along with the lenders, capital. How do you match that? How do you marry them with investor, bank, yourself, and probably how to marry each one of them and make it financing a deal is really key. And then eventually close the deal and manage the deal. And that's what we have. I don't want, as I said, like I want to make this short and sweet meetings for all you guys who are thinking of, if you think that um, you are, I want to offer something to all you guys who are thinking of real estates. The key is this: no one starting on some things knowing exactly what they want. If you're thinking remotely that you want to learn how to do investings and offering all these three meetups, free Zoom call, and this is an example of three meetings that that is I don't ever charge anything for people who want to answer my questions and want to start investing. And I even have really low cost, as I said, really low cost online trading that I encourage all you guys to come check that out at haytobreak.com, hay2 the number two break.com. I encourage all of you guys to come and check it out and ask me questions. I am thrilled. I'm glad to be able to offer help, just like someone had been able to help me years ago. And I'm gonna leave it like that. I want to thanks for everyone to come to the Zoom call and to the Facebook and also to the YouTube call. But I want to end it like that. Thank you very much for all you guys come join me, and shoot me a message, shoot me an email, and leave a message. And I want to connect to you all, you guys, and guys and girls, enjoy the weathers out there. I know this is so sunny. I'm sorry that keep you in there, but I want to leave it like this. One last sentence is, um, you got to be able to do the work. If you want to invest with other investors, you got to be able to wake up and show up, whether you would like it or you don't. So I encourage you all, you guys, to start finding deals. Come talk to me and start the research in the market. If you need help, check out my website, check out my other videos. A lot of shared free videos that I recorded over the years, but I want to help you. But thanks so much, and want to wish you all well on this Saturday, and live it like this. Thanks so much, everyone. Happy Saturday. Bye. So thanks everyone. So on the Facebook, and wish you well and have a wonderful Saturday. Talk to you soon. Bye.